Hey, and welcome back to Damn Parenting, the show where we're keeping it real, keeping it honest, and occasionally questioning our life choices while raising these tiny little humans without totally losing our minds. I'm your host, Eva, and yes, we are still deep in the trenches of summer break. You know, that magical time when your house is permanently sticky and your kids are somehow always hungry. So while I'm currently busy negotiating snack deals like a UN diplomat, I'm digging back into the archives and resurfacing some golden oldies. Episodes you may have missed if you're new here, welcome, grab a juice box, or ones that might hit differently the second time around if you've been riding with us since day one. In fact, someone recently messaged me saying that they'd listened to an older episode and back then it didn't land, but now, boom, total light bulb moment. And honestly, that's what this podcast is all about. Meeting you where you're at, whenever you're ready. So, today's rerun is all about Project Fearless, an amazing initiative based here in the Netherlands that's creating safe, inspiring spaces for girls and female identifying youths to explore sports and science and arts and leadership. And, well, basically, they're raising a generation of little world changers, and I am here for it. Seriously, these folks are doing the real work, encouraging, uplifting, and empowering through facts, not fluff. So go grab an iced coffee, an ice cream, whatever you're needing, hide from the kids for a bit, and let's dive back in. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Damn Parenting, your English-speaking parenting podcast from the Netherlands. As always, we are your hosts, Eva and
Maren.
Today, we are going to be talking about Project Fearless. So our kids will be starting school actually just this year. Obviously, once you get your school, then it's straight into, okay, what BSO are you going to get? What one's available? You know, this is about where our kids are going to be able to go and play and continue socializing. But BSO is only until 12. And I believe most kids kind of get bored probably at the age of 10 or something. I'm not even sure, but that's what I've heard. I kind of got stuck in this rabbit hole. Again, my daughter has not started school, and I'm now down this rabbit hole of what's going to happen at that point in time.
But this is also for everyone who has older kids, because you know that we usually cover pregnancy and baby. And then because we are in the midst of toddlerhood, this is the topics. But we thought, well, there is also a couple people who have older kids and who then are faced with the question, okay, now BSO and now what? Because this is also something that is available here in Amsterdam and I believe in Rotterdam. But Eva, you know a little bit more about the Project Fearless.
Well, so my thing was I got stuck in this rabbit hole and I started looking at research, of course. So in 2018, there was this longitudinal study in Finland about analyzing social leisure activities during adolescence. And there was one which focused on 15 and 16-year-olds and how it actually relates to mental disorders later on in life from 16 to 33. Now, this was based in Finland, but it showed that high social activity is linked to lower incidences of anxiety, substance use disorders, and any other psychiatric disorders. And so conversely, low social activity is actually associated with these. So these findings kind of highlight the importance of promoting community-based social activities for youth for prevalent for the mental disorder sides, which is depression, anxiety. Other research in the UK also showed that nearly half of teenage girls who once considered themselves sporty disengaged from sport following primary school. I think it's like 70% felt they were being judged by others. 60% felt the lack of confidence. There was also pressures of schoolwork, even not feeling safe. With International Youth Day coming up on Monday, the 12th of August, which is about celebrating and recognizing the efforts of the world's youth and enhancing our global society, today we welcome Sarah from Project Fearless, which is a Stichting which started in 2019, which empowers girls from 9 to 14 in Amsterdam and Rotterdam to get hands-on, break stereotypes, find their voice, and create a lasting impact. And it's a community, and we at Damn Parenting know damn well how important community is for raising our families. So that's a mouthful, but hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course. I loved hearing your research, and I was like, yeah, we're hitting this spot here.
It's so important. And as we were talking about before we started this interview, it's like, I just wish I had this. Can you tell us about Project Fearless and how it got started?
Yes, of course. So I jumped in about 2 years ago. So it got started 2 years before I joined by Merida Miller. He's from the US, moved here, corporate work at Under Armour. Was really good at what he was doing, like innovative design, but at some point realized that he wanted to make more impact. So he started looking into like all these different initiatives, mostly women focused. He was like really keen on like trying to do something for women. That was her goal. He started going to all these talks, learning about like fear of failure, about extroverted leadership, introverted leadership, all these super important topics, and constantly thinking, I wish I would have known this when I was a kid. Like when I kind of lost that confidence, when I stopped practicing braveness, when I stopped getting outside of my comfort zone to grow. And you also realize like there's so little happening for girls, especially entering puberty and in puberty. So that's why she started Project Fearless, to create a safe space for girls to try things out. Very low threshold. It's not about competing. It's not about being the best, because girls feel that way too often already in their normal day-to-day and school life. It's about just a place where they can get together, try new things, are encouraged to step outside of their comfort zone, but like in small groups. So it leaves space for the individual as well. This has grown from like something super small into quite big now. We have, I think, 12 to 13 courses running in Amsterdam only. We just expanded to Rotterdam. We're growing our team. We're growing our 9 to 14-year-olds is now 9 to 18 years old. We're still piloting that, but we're growing. And we also see how we're changing constantly with the kids that participate in our programs. So I know I've kept saying girls because it started off as a place for girls, but it's because of this safe space we've been like focusing on. A lot of families found us who kids are already thinking about their gender and sexuality. So we have a lot of kids that are practicing their pronouns with us. So now we say, Project Fearless is a place for any kid that identifies with the girl experience, to make it broader and include all those different experiences of those kids.
Where can we sign up?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me too. When I joined 3 years ago, I was like blown away by the amazing volunteers we have. Like, so cool, so many amazing cool people. And also like I was attending a lot of the programs as well, attending a lot of workshops, and I noticed like I was learning so much about my own like insecurities or leadership skills and styles that I have. So yeah, it's a really cool place.
So you mentioned there are a few of the courses. Can you give us other examples of courses?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we have 3 focus themes that we focus on. So one is Mind and Movement Lab. So that's all our sports courses. So yeah, skateboarding is a big one. It kind of depends on the area where we're at, where we see that girls and gender fluid kids don't really have access to yet. In New West, where we work mostly with a big Islamic population, there it's football and kickboxing, and also recently skateboarding, which has been a huge achievement there to get that set up there. But more in Zuid, Centrum, Oost-West, we're doing bouldering, Run Club, which is a huge hit. Skateboarding as well, kickboxing, I'm probably forgetting a few. Then we have the maker space. That's a second team topic. So that's where kids can get hands-on experience. So creating, working with the hands. Right now we have our sustainable sewing course where kids get to work with a sewing machine, get to create, but with a focus on making them aware of the fashion industry and thinking critically about it, and encouraging upcycling or other creative methods and ways to make fashion more sustainable. And we have, for example, artivism, which combines art, activism, and science. And that has a different topic each time. They once did Greener Amsterdam, for example. And then we have our leadership theme, which included in the past entrepreneurship, for example, which was really cool. But right now includes our junior coaches program, which is our program for 14 to 18 years old. So we noticed that, well, we exist 5 years now. We have kids that joined at 9 and are now turning 14, 15, and they wanted to stay. And we also wanted them to stay because, well, teenage years and the troubles that come with it don't end at 14, of course. So we are encouraging them to stay on and taking on more of a leadership role and a role model role for the younger kids in the programs, where they kind of like the assistant coaches to our coaches and kind of form that bridge between our adult coach and our fearless participants.
Wow, that's
how
quite
much
a
does
lot.
it cost? Well, let's get to the facts. So how do we sign up? What does it cost? And how can we get started?
Yeah, of course. So we work in seasons. We have 4 seasons a year of 8 weeks each. So you sign up for an 8-week course, and then there's a start and end. They create something, or they just have a really fun time. We set this up so we encourage kids to try something new, maybe. If they want to. They don't have to, but if they want to. We see, for example, that kids who are super sporty, they join in a sports course because they think that, well, that fits them maybe better. But then after getting to know, or the safe space we set up at Project Fearless, we really see how those kids are then keen on trying something else, or like want to try something else. So that's why we have the seasons. We're trying more and more to make sure that all our programs we can offer for free. That's our goal. we see that we can get a way more diverse group if our courses are free. And that's really what we want. And we also know how what we offer is not something other clubs or the municipality, for example, offers, and that Project Fearless is a place for everyone, and that cost is not a limiting factor. So even if we do charge, sometimes there will always be free spots available, no questions asked. That's really our core goal. But right now we have quite a lot of our courses completely sponsored, which means we can do them for free. And otherwise, yeah, it's like between 90 and 150, which for me, coming from a family that did not have that kind of money, is quite a lot. So that's also why we have all those free spots.
So you're talking about some of the places are sponsored. Can you give us an idea?
The municipality is a beast that we are still trying to figure out how it works. It's one of Meredith wasn't Dutch speaking, so when I joined in, it's kind of been also a little bit my thing. So occasionally we have things sponsored by the municipality, but most of our courses are sponsored by partnerships, by actually corporate partners. Like Nike, for example, is our biggest partner, and they because of them we can all our courses in New West we can offer for free, including like our training of our coaches. Basically my whole pay is possible because of Nike, but we also encourage like companies to sponsor maybe only the 8 weeks. So we've done, for example, an artivism, like the art and science course with Polaroids, like those kind of sponsors, and also funds. And yeah, so just like funds that we apply to. We're not really municipality focused. We're still working on the municipality thing, but whew, that's
You got some big players to the table. So I mean, it's like municipality can like take a good look at that.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think it's so beautiful that you really foster and plant the seeds for womanhood and really creating this mindset in young females, young female identifying individuals that we're in the same boat and we need to support each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we want to give these kids. We have a lot of or courses are individual sports, for example. Like bouldering is not per se something you do in a team. We're just kids who are not, football just doesn't do it for them. Or like those team sports just doesn't work. I think, for example, we have a lot of very beautiful neurodivergent kids who just struggle in like a big team that doesn't have coaches who also know how to do and handle and have individual attention to anyone. But then with us, they're still being able to do bouldering, which is something quite individual, but do it in a team setting. So they know that even if you're the one doing something, you can still encourage everyone and give them the light, have the spotlight shine on them sometimes and know that it will shine on you again the next class. We also did a few years ago, we did a research for an impact report on safe spaces, and if actually like those 8 weeks, it's quite small, what the impact can be of those 8 weeks on those kids. And what came out of it was that even though we only provide the safe space for kids, one afternoon a week, it still has a huge impact on them, because knowing wherever they are, if they're at school where they might not feel at home, if they're at work in a few years where they might not feel like they can take up space, they know that somewhere there's this place where they are encouraged and celebrated for being exactly who they are. And knowing that there is that space for you, it has a huge impact on your resilience in all those other places and worlds and people you meet. So that's something we're super proud of achieving and being able to give. And it's also something that we train our coaches in a lot, and that we also practice in our team as well, which I'm super proud of. Our behind the scenes team, this is really something we focus on internally as well.
That's so wonderful. It actually reminds me of something I think I read recently, and it was talking about safe space is like not a hot topic, but it's just one of those things that people are now deploying out, saying, oh, we provide a safe space. But the reality is saying it and having it are two very different things. And something you mentioned earlier about some kids who will go the sporting route because that's their forte and that's where they kind of feel at ease and know they can do it. But when they see your other pillars of other things like the creative, that they're going, I can go back here and do it and not feel that judgment, and therefore learn that safe space to be able to then go on.
Yeah, that's our goal. And then it encourages kids to step outside of their comfort zone, like maybe try to push themselves a little bit more, which then again, like that's a skill that we have to develop. And that's a skill that we kind of lose when we stop doing these kind of extracurricular activities. And we see that girls in the Netherlands just, what you were saying as well, like most kids drop out after primary school in those activities. So they're not practicing going a bit further. And you see that in future years, and like maybe setting up a business or going for that promotion or trying a new hobby in your 40s, or it's such an important skill and something that makes your life so much happier if you can and dare to fail as well and be bad at something and try it again.
So you were mentioning some of the locations you have. You spoke about New West, Centrum, Zuid, Oost, and then you said it was also like just one day a week. Can you let us know? So if we sign up for 8 weeks, it's once a week then for 8 weeks that we will then attend.
Yeah.
And what time is it usually?
Yeah, so it's during the week, one afternoon a week. It's somewhere between 4:30 and 7. It's like 1.5 or 2 hours, kind of depending on the course. And it happens one day a week. We also have events next to that, but they pop up.
We've spoken about primary school, the Basel school, where it's like from about 8:30, 8:45 to about 3. Whereas in Middelbaar school, it goes up to about 3:30 to 5. It depends as well. Yeah. So, okay. So afterwards, they would then go there themselves to then partake. Okay.
So exactly. Like, or 12 to 14-year-old kids, they usually come straight from like high school or secondary school to our programs. Yeah.
And is there any way for us parents to get involved? Is there anything that we can help? I don't know. Are you looking for people who are running workshops? Or if any parent out there says, oh, my kid is not at the age group yet. However, I really want to support this whole concept of it. Is there anything how we as parents can get involved?
Just to add to that, I was going to ask that exact same question, but with the added premise that you're targeting international families who've been headhunted to come here. So they are working for the major global companies.
So if anyone's listening,
listen, go in and talk to your companies and like really, get this heard.
Does your company have an impact sector? Maybe interesting to like find out if we can collab. Yeah, no, that's a big one for sure. That's an amazing one. Like, do you know anyone who could link us to get this funding and in order to do also grow our impact and be able to reach those kids, reach anyone more and be able to just provide more. But if that's not your thing or you don't have those resources or network, we are always looking for just helping hands. So that can either be in the behind the scenes team, kind of depends or needs. We have amazing volunteers, few we pay, but most volunteers who just help us run our social media, for example, or our marketing strategies or our fundraising. So maybe you can look at our site, like see if we have any open positions, or just also sometimes we don't even realize that we need something until someone offers a skill to us. I think happened quite recently with the fundraising that someone was like, hey, I just finished this job. I'm looking for something else. In the meantime, I have a huge amount of time. I can do this for you. And we were like, we never knew we needed this, but yes, please do this for us. And if that's not your thing and you really you have a bit of time, an 8-week commitment after school kind of time, you can come coach maybe. So we encourage, I think our strength is that we are not a competitive kickboxers, for example. So we are always looking for enthusiasts in a sport or in a creative activity. So you don't have to be perfect. You don't need coaching experience. We provide it for you. We provide you with our methodology, training days, help, like onboarding time. But we are always looking for amazing women or gender fluid people who can be these role models for our kids. I can understand that that's a huge commitment, even especially after like your 9 to 5, but always something that like it's a way to get involved. And otherwise it's just about spreading the word, like maybe follow us, share our content sometimes, talk about us. Like word of mouth is our biggest marketing. We try pay that sometimes, but really it's all in the word of mouth. And I love that as well, because then you also know you're reaching the kids you want to reach. Yeah, so talk about us.
Well, we certainly are. And thank you for joining us. It really was for us to have you because, as I said, our kids are quite small, but our audience also has a lot older kids. And this is also something for our future that we hope our girls will be able to go and join because, again, like I think we've all just said, this is something we wish we could have had at that age group as well, because it's such an important moment in our lives. And as myself and Maren have had on previous episodes talking about transitioning into teenagehoods, that hormonal shift, your whole body and mind is out of chaos. So having a stable physical location with people there and in a safe space, it's such a paramount experience that you guys are providing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to be part of this as well. It's giving me so much, and it's also giving me this feeling of, oh, I wish I had this, and now I'm happy that I can maybe help others have this and have it a little bit for myself as well, even if it's way later than in my teen years. Thank you for having me, having Project Fearless here and being willing to like help us spread the word about us. Yeah, it's beautiful to see that you can create that space for us.
Thanks again to Sarah from Project Fearless for joining us last year. Honestly, what a powerhouse. I've been high-key fangirling them ever since. And over the past year, Project Fearless has only gone from strength to strength, lifting up girls, future leaders, and basically making the world a better place one confidence-boosting workshop at a time. And hey, even if your own tiny humans are still a little bit too tiny to jump in, there are so many ways to get involved. Ask your own company if they can support initiatives like this, or roll up your own sleeves and bring your skills and volunteer. Because trust me, the ripple effect is real. Now, if you've loved this episode or just need a reason to tune out of the 500th Mama of the Day, be sure to subscribe, leave a little rating or review, and follow the podcast over on Instagram. I hang out there most days and it's the best way to message me, share your thoughts, or just say hi while you're hiding in the bathroom clutching snacks like a gremlin. So wherever you are right now, whether you're mopping up a punami, reeling from a spontaneous toddler haircut, racing to meet a friend for a 5 blissful minutes of adult conversation, or surrounding completely to the unpredictability joy of chaos of summer holidays, I see you, and I am you. And over the next 2 weeks, I'll be sharing a few more favorite throwbacks from the podcast vault, something that might hit differently now, something new to explore, or just something to fold laundry to that doesn't involve a babbling baby or a shouting toddler who thinks you're Alexa. So until next time, stay sane, stay hydrated, and remember, snacks and screen time are still valid parenting wins. Till next time.